What is up, guys? Podcast number 9.
We really at 9?
We're really at 9. I had to think about it. I wouldn't know because I did that video yesterday, and I'm like, oh, podcast number 9. Jeez, we're already at number 9.
I'm just going to say that at the beginning of every single podcast now. It's like, whoa, wait, we're here? Podcast number 30? Are you joking me? We're already here? Podcast number 50?
Everyone should know we've been trying to do a podcast for a long time. We used to have one underground. You might be able to find the clip somewhere online, but we're actually doing it. We're seeing growth. We're here every Tuesday. We're getting business meetings now. We talk about it just about every single day, and we're posting videos consistently. It's fantastic. I'm really proud of us. I said this last podcast, but I really am.
Yeah, no, honestly. Eventually, we might even figure out how to get another person on the podcast. We're Googling, we're ChatGPTing, we're doing all the research necessary, just haven't figured it out yet. But we will.
No.
We will figure it out.
We will. We had Calvin Ringer on. Calvin was a great guest, but the audio was just not there. We had those little mics and this, and then I was holding it the wrong way, and it died halfway through the podcast, which is a little bit rough. But actually, I didn't tell you this yet. I'm going to tell you live on the pod. Well, it's not live, but you know what I mean.
Right.
You know those little mics?
Yes.
I broke them.
What?
But I bought new ones, so it's fine.
How did you break it?
I went to record something, and I put my phone inside our tripod, and it just threw the phone out, and it landed straight down.
No.
And then, dude, it was bent sideways and split up. And then when I bought the new ones, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Now I have 4 mics. Will the old mics work with the new receiver? No.
No.
They don't.
I was going to say, that would have been such an incredible hack.
Bro, that would have been the best mistake of my life.
I can just imagine, though, dude, the FBI agent that had been listening to all those different things, just all of a sudden, his audio is just gone. Just like that. All of a sudden, nothing.
It's like, lost connection? I lost connection?
Reload, refresh.
Where'd he go?
Where'd he go?
Oh, dude, it's hilarious. But there's a lot going on in the news. I think we're trying to figure out the best structure for our podcast right now. And we know what our goals are. I don't think we've actually fully expressed what we want to do from this podcast. And I think it's a good time now. So our goal for this podcast is to be able to talk to just interesting people and have normal conversations. You see a lot of podcasts out there. A lot of the podcasts are hosted by comedians, and they talk to celebrities. It's the same conversation over and over and over again. And what we want to do is just have normal conversations and get to know people on an actual personal level. Bring back reality into this crazy world we live in. So that's what we're working towards, and we're trying to figure out in this podcast how we're going to get there and how we can better ourselves every day to get to that point one time. And I think we should talk a little bit about some of the current events that are going on right now.
There's always crazy stuff going on. That we talked about it. I remember in the first podcast we were talking about how the internet is sort of like a conglomeration of all the craziness in the world to remind us of how boring our lives actually are. And there are some crazy things that are going on. Stuff that you would just kind of look at and you're like, you question yourself as to why sane people would do this sort of stuff, right? And I'm talking mainly about just the drama that happens between high internet celebrities like Logan Paul and Dillon Danis.
I love what's going on between these two.
This is going to be a case study in the future. I'm not joking. The YouTuber boxing spectacle, it is, it's a, what do you call it? It's a phenomenon, right? YouTube boxing. The fact that we don't have actual boxers boxing anymore. Those are not the popular fights anymore.
Yeah, I think if you go and ask any middle schooler or high schooler, who are the best boxers in the world, they'll probably say Jake Paul. They'll be like, Jake Paul is the best boxer in the world.
He is, right?
Yeah, he is. They'll forget about Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao, and who's that guy, the Mexican dude?
Oh,
Saul Alvarez. Yeah, whatever. Yeah. He just had a good fight.
Yeah.
But they'll forget about all these actual fighters, and they only think about YouTubers. Bryce Hall's now doing bare knuckle, which is...
What on earth is going on? How do you go from losing your only boxing match and all of a sudden you're the funniest thing about that is after he lost to Taylor Holder, he said on air, I'm not a fighter. I never claimed to be a fighter. And then all of a sudden it's, I am. Well, he may have turned into a fighter. So, I mean,
if you lose to another YouTuber, another singer, you have to do something insanely masculine to kind of win back your man card. And there's nothing more brutal than bare knuckle boxing.
Well, I think it's a relevance card too. I mean, we've seen that YouTube boxing has done so much to bring YouTubers back into the spotlight.
Yeah.
It's the whole reason why Logan Paul still has a career to this day. He was canceled off the face of the internet. He didn't have a place there until he got called out by KSI. And if it hadn't been for KSI calling him out on YouTube, Logan Paul, this whole Dillon Danis thing would not even exist.
No, you're 100% right. So, for the people that don't know, Logan Paul was doing vlogs every single day. I used to watch them. They were insanely entertaining.
They were great.
He brought energy that nobody else brought. And he made a very bad decision to record something he should have recorded in Japan. And after that, he was canceled. He completely blocked out of Hollywood. His career was going nowhere. He was done. He truly was done. Then you're right. KSI calls him out and brought his career back. He was able to, on his vlogs, show his hero arc from canceled, horrible person to somebody fighting to be a better person. And it was actually really cool to watch and see, but now it's definitely been dragged out. And it's cool that he's in the WWE. I mean, I know there is a lot of people that do watch the WWE. I never watched it growing up. I actually wrestled. So watching fake wrestling was just not something I wanted to do. I didn't want to watch men go touch each other all day. I like baseball. And it's really interesting to see YouTubers, you said, gain back relevance. And after this is all done, what's going to be next?
Another YouTube fight. That's it. I mean, these guys make so much money off of these fights, it's disgusting. And that's why people look at this and it's sort of like the WWE, because these people, that these YouTube influencers, they make a job out of creating a facade, right?
Yeah.
They have a whole personality that they create specifically for YouTube. Some don't. Some are actually legitimately just crazy the way that they are and the way that they portray themselves on the internet. Others are also calm, and that's their persona on the internet. People like Moist Critical, if you've ever heard of him.
You said Moist Critical?
Moist Critical. You've never heard of him?
Hey, you showed me I probably saw a clip here or there.
He's also known as Penguin Zero.
Is that the dude with the long hair?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's like the greatest. Okay, on the internet, he's probably the best. I don't even know what he does. He just talks about stuff. But he can talk about stuff the way that no one else can, by using just random words that are slurred together to create some gigantic piece of poop that actually sounds poetic.
Yeah, he has a way of speaking that you're like, what is he saying? I know him and Sneeko had some beef about watch my clips! And he's like, you imbecile. This is a magazine. And then brings out his AR-15. It's like, in fact, watch my clips. What is going on?
I hate to be that guy, but it's actually mags.
Yeah, I hate to be that guy, but I'm not going to be that guy.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's you could say anything like that. If you say respectfully before any sentence, you're entitled to say whatever the hell you want.
It's honestly, it's very true. And we've seen that throughout the whole internet arc now. You can say anything and it's right, respectfully.
Respectfully, you are an idiot.
Respectfully, you're going bald.
Respectfully, that is true. But you know what? Respectfully, I got nothing else to say about that.
If you want me to cut that out, I definitely can.
No, you keep that in. That's what the people want to hear that. But I mean, the point is, going back to what we were talking about originally, these fights make unbelievable amounts of money that there's no reason for them to ever actually stop, because the amount of profits that come as a result. But that's why I think that this Dillon Danis fight with Logan Paul is just utter BS.
Yeah.
Right?
Do you think he's actually going to show up?
It's looking like he might actually pull out right now.
There's been a lot of talks that he might. I mean, one of the biggest betting lines is that he is going to pull out, that he won't show up to the fight. He'll claim that he is, and he's done. I guess he's done this before. He hasn't fought since 2019. But there's a lot going on that isn't fully public, because there's 4 lawsuits against him from Logan and Nina about all these pictures. Well, let's backtrack a little bit, just in case people don't know what's going on. So Dillon Danis is like a very good UFC fighter. He never won any titles, but he's just really good in jiu-jitsu and fighting on the ground. And he kind of got in the social media space and had beef with Jake Paul back in the day. I think Jake Paul stole his girl, because Jake's just a savage like that. We don't condone that. After that, they had beef with the Pauls, and he just kind of was just gone. He wasn't really relevant at all. He gets picked for this fight, and then takes this opportunity to go off. Everybody, for the rest of our generation's lives, we will remember who Dillon Danis is because of what he's done to Nina.
Oh yeah, no, that is crazy. The amount of internet beef that has gone. There are actual, discussions being made in law enforcement as to whether or not Dillon Danis has gone too far online with some of the tweets that he said. So much to the point that it got to where Nina Agdal actually put a restraining order on Dillon Danis.
Yeah.
And so this is actually one of the things that's going on, is that Nina Agdal is still planning on going to the fight, despite the fact that she has a restraining order on Dillon Danis. And so there's actual discussions being made right now between, lawyers and judges and stuff like that, talking about, can he even fight if she shows up? Is he allowed to be there if she's there?
I think from what I've saw on the internet, like the interviews that I've watched of Logan and Dillon, is that the restraining order isn't actually like a physical one, like you can't come within like 100 feet of each other. It's posting any explicit images or videos, because Dillon has this illicit photo or video that's going to end their relationship. We've seen what he's already posted out, or we don't even know if he actually posted it, but there's been some very explicit things posted that's where these lawsuits are supposedly coming in. But we don't know the whole story, because obviously it's still being worked on and they can't talk about an ongoing case. But I think do you think Dillon's going too far? What is too far when it comes to the world of boxing? We see people talking like about people's mothers, and Conor McGregor's talked about other people's wives before, but we haven't seen anybody straight up posting pictures of someone's fiance with tons of other men.
No, we've never seen that before. But that was inevitable with the power of the internet, right? This is what was going to eventually happen with the internet, is someone had to take it to this limit, because you need to see how far these things can actually go. And the response so far has been basically, why not more? Because no one has gone against, there's a lawsuit. Dillon Danis is in trouble with the lawsuit. That might do some stuff to hurt his reputation and his legacy going forward, but not to the point where it's going to make him stop anymore, because all he's gotten really is a slap on the wrist.
Yeah, well, he's said multiple times he's not like asking people for photos. People
are just sending them to him.
Yeah, they're getting sent to him, or they're just on the internet, and this can dive into a weird detour. But I feel bad for Logan. I don't think what Dillon's doing is inherently, it's not, wrong. It's something you just don't do. It's like that, it's kind of a bro code. Like, you just don't, it's like, when someone breaks up with somebody and they dated, you just don't talk about that ex anymore. You don't show pictures. That's not something that you do. But what we're seeing now in real time is when you get, slander in a high school, oh, hey, this chick dated this guy, and this guy, and that kind of that slut shaming that you had local in high school, we're seeing that on a global stage for the first time ever.
Well, and you know what Dillon Danis has said about it? Is that he's actually doing it as part of the bro code. He didn't do it to go off against Logan. He's basically claimed in the most recent interviews that everything that he's doing online is actually just to go straight at Nina. He just really doesn't like Nina. And so he said he did this lawsuit as a favor to Logan, because he really... So, one of the funny things about did you see the face-off between Dillon Danis and Logan Paul?
Yeah, I saw a lot of thumbs up.
So, Dillon Danis, if he wins, Logan has to make him the best man at his wedding. Did you hear about that?
No, I didn't hear about that.
Okay, so they made a bet.
Dog.
Yeah, they made a bet. And if Dillon Danis beats Logan Paul has to have Dillon Danis be his best man.
Could Dillon Danis and Jake even be in the same room?
Probably not. That's the best part. Is like that's secretly I really want this fight to go on because the possibility because you know that this wedding is going to be unbelievably public.
It has to be.
It has to be, right? Like the lives that these people live are so public that they monetize everything, and so why wouldn't you monetize your wedding?
Yeah, he monetized his engagement, so
yes,
might as well. Okay, so take a little bit of a weird sidetrack mentioning his engagement. Have you seen a psychologist analyze him and Nina's relationship?
I think so. Is this in regards to that? Do you remember that video of Logic when he bought his girl a car?
Yeah,
he said, "I love you," and she was like, "Oh, you bought me a car," and he's like, "Yes, I love you," and she was like, "Oh, you bought me a car," and he's like, "Yes, I love you," and she's like, "Oh my god!"
And she just she didn't say it until he said it 5 times.
Yeah,
it's that. So people are doing that with Nina and Logan. And when you break it apart like that, it hurts to see. Because she could be very genuine, and that's just how she expresses herself. But when you take into account her past and Logan's past and how the relationship is, it's just like, come on, bro. But you also mentioned bro code, and that's why Dillon's saying he's doing this is for a bro code. I'm doing it for you, brother. We can all agree as men, the bro code isn't posting pictures of your buddy's girl on the internet saying, hey, this girl's no good. You do it behind closed doors as gentlemen, but that doesn't get clicks.
No. And that's why you know that it's just straight BS when he posts these photos and then says that it's purely for Logan Paul and not against him. Like he's trying to actually do stuff for Logan. That one of the funniest things I think a lot of people have on Logan when they fight him is they say stuff like, I'm doing this fight for you. This fight is going to bring you back into relevance.
Yeah.
And to a certain extent, that's sort of true. Like, Logan Paul isn't really known anymore for any of the stuff that he does, right? He's got a podcast, but the podcast isn't anything without the guests that he brings on, right?
Yeah.
He does these fights, but the fights aren't really anything without the opponent that trash talks him the way that Dillon Danis is, right? I mean, KSI brought him back into relevance. Dillon Danis, in a certain way, is keeping Logan Paul in the headlines because of the way that he's done this whole facade online, right? Do you think Logan Paul would be making, no one would even know who Nina Agdal is if it wasn't for Dillon Danis. Not to the extent that they do now.
No, 100%. Well, actually, really funny. I got my haircut 2 weeks ago, and I was sitting in the salon. And I look over to my left, and she was actually on a poster for like modeling something. And I was like, no way. It was just so random. But what I also think is funny about this fight card is Dillon Danis and Logan Paul aren't even the main event.
I know.
The main event is KSI and Tommy Fury, and I genuinely think they should change that because no one really cares about those two anymore.
No.
And Tommy Fury, he is a good fighter. He comes from a crazy good fighting family. Like his dad, I forget his actual name, Mr. Fury, is probably one of the craziest people in the world.
Tommy Fury?
Tommy Fury's dad.
Oh yeah.
I absolutely love watching this dude talk. Like, who just takes their shirt off and just wants to fight everybody? Like, I honestly wish that I had that in me to just flip a switch and just go like crazy.
That reminds me. Did you see the clip of that guy at the golf course? Semi-recently. It was like a couple weeks ago. The guy got so angry. He took off his shirt. So it's the way that some people are, dude. They get so angry. It's a primal instinct to just take off all your clothes. Just show off your body. Show off some skin. Go crazy. Make them feel the heat emanating from your skin, from your blood that is just boiling underneath you. Yeah, that's what it is. It's a primal instinct. You'll see that. And speaking of Tommy Fury's dad, who likes to pull up his shirt, there's actually a video that was just posted online by KSI on Twitter of Tommy Fury allegedly taking off his shirt in a confrontation on the street that was caught by some CCTV camera. And so it's just like you can't make this stuff up. Like, no. These people they have like these personas and they're not fake. It's the best part about it. Like, they're not fake personas. No. It's their real personality.
Yeah, those people are real. It's funny when you have the fake people trying to be as real as them, but those guys are just absolutely insane. I think if Tommy Fury wants to live up to his name and wants to emulate what his brother's doing, he has to stop taking these YouTube fights. They do nothing for him. He wins. Okay, you're supposed to win. But if KSI somehow slips a good punch in, knocks you down. Like, we saw what happened when Jake knocked him down. It went viral instantly. Absolutely, it's crazy. Like, him and Jake are a pretty decent fight because Jake has put himself together to be an actual good fighter. He's been working his butt off to his arc as a fighter, and it's awesome to see. I hope Jake actually starts taking like real fights, and just it would be cool to see Jake just stop with social media content and actually focus on boxing. Go through it like a normal boxer. Don't use your name to try to get the title fight right away. Earn it. When you earn something, it means so much more than when you pay for something. And it would be really cool to see him do that. I don't know if he's good enough to do that. He could prove us wrong. I would love for him to prove me wrong and start from where he needs to be in an actual like amateur professional boxing match and work his way up. I understand he can do these crazy pay-per-views, but if he wants to be the best boxer in the world, do it like the best boxer in the world would do.
No, I agree 100%. Yeah, I think that he is looking for too much flashiness rather than like actual just perseverance, right? Like, he's just looking for the fight that's going to land the most pay-per-views.
Oh yeah, he's trying to get a bag. That's all he's trying to do.
Which at the end of the day, that's what Tommy Fury is trying to do too. I mean, Tommy Fury is trying to make a name for himself, but he's not trying to make a name for himself on those title fights.
No, that's why he was on Love Island.
Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah, I mean, he's a cover guy.
And it's sad to see because his brother is arguably one of the best fighters ever. One of the
Tyson?
Tyson Fury. One of the best fighters ever. I mean, dude's just an absolute monster. I love just how fat he is and how much he talks about how fat he is. And he's like, this is how the fat man does it. And then just knocks people out and then just takes hit after hit. It's absolutely insane. But as we're kind of talking about him, he has a big fight coming up with Francis Ngannou.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that.
I don't think it's a good matchup, but I think he's going to win. I just don't see Francis beating him.
I don't see Francis having the skill to fight a boxer like that. Francis, I know he did start with boxing. I feel like it's gonna hurt his legacy coming from the UFC into boxing. We saw what Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather did, and it's a different sport. It's not fighting. Isn't just fighting.
I don't think it's gonna hurt his legacy if he loses, because if you think about it, Conor McGregor's legacy wasn't hurt by the fact that he lost to McGregor. His legacy was hurt when he lost to Nurmagomedov when he came back.
That definitely was a nail in the coffin when he tapped in Ireland.
Yeah, because the thing is, like, Ngannou could have a really good fight against Fury, and everyone would be totally fine, even if he loses. If it's by a split decision in the 10th round or something like that, that's not a hit on his legacy, because he just went up against one of the best boxers of all time. That's how it was for Conor McGregor. He lost to McGregor by it wasn't by TKO, was it?
That's TKO.
It was TKO.
Yeah, he didn't go to decision.
Oh, he didn't?
No.
Okay, never mind.
They tapped him out. He probably could have continued going, but still in exhibition. But if Ngannou gets slept like Nate Robertson kind of did,
that's not gonna happen.
It shouldn't happen, but it could happen because Tyson has that power to sleep somebody, and Ngannou's never been slept like that. So if that happened, that would show anybody else Ngannou's going to fight, he's human, right? There's not a lot of people that can get hit and get back up, and you're still scared of them. Like when Tyson Fury got hit, almost knocked out, the dude was just laying there, eyes closed, and just came back. When he did that, people were like, oh crap, this dude's legit. That's when he's like, I'm here, I will not be beat. F with me. And then he won.
Yeah. No, I don't think Francis Ngannou is going to win. But, I mean, he is shifty enough to at least make it entertaining. Because that's always been his strength in the UFC. It's just his movement and his ability with his legs. He can move around better than anyone else can. But the thing is, he can't use his legs now. Yeah. He can only move on them.
So it's going to be interesting to see. Like, it's always interesting seeing UFC fighters go into the actual boxing ring. That's why I don't think I would love to see Dillon Danis win. I don't think he can, just because it, like I said before, it's a completely different sport.
Right.
It's not just fighting, and it even goes. We talked about Bryce Hall. Like bare knuckle is also a completely different sport Because boxing, you're able to use your hands to kind of set you up. You a lot of jabs, whatever. If you ever watched a bare knuckle fight, it's slow. They have to take their time because their hands get blown up. If you see their hands afterwards, they're completely destroyed because I think they're hitting bone. And actually, I would watch the fight between Bryce Hall and the guy that he beat. He's undefeated in bare knuckle right now.
How many fights has he had?
One. Oh. Still, so he beat this guy. He beat the guy because the guy gave up because he broke dislocated his shoulder or something. But his first punch knocked the dude on the ground. And me and you have never been in a fight before, but we could both probably agree it probably would hurt more to hit bare knuckle than with glove.
Oh yeah, way more.
And then you know that you're there's not a lot of skin, there's no fat, and there's no muscle on your knuckles. That's how they just cut and break open, and that's why they don't have a longevity like a boxer actually would.
No, I mean just think about the long-term pain that you're gonna have on your joints. Like on your your knuckles are gonna be screwed up for the rest of your life. I feel like.
If you pull up a picture of Bryce Hall's hands now, they're disgusting. Like they're just nasty.
Oh.
It's just because he just beats his hands all day long, and it's absolutely nuts.
It's crazy this guy went from shaking his booty on TikTok to shaking his fists at men on the court.
Yeah, and honestly good for him.
Yeah, dude, what a turnaround! That's a great story. That's a fantastic story for someone to do something like that. That's a great turn in your life.
Yeah, I wonder where this goes for him because bare knuckle is not a flashy sport. It's not the UFC. It's not boxing. You don't get paid much, and if you didn't know he fought, you wouldn't have seen the fight. I had to dig for the clips.
But you know what I think his move is here? I think his move here is very similar. It's reminiscent to Jake Paul in boxing, because Jake Paul is not the best boxer in the world.
No.
But is Jake Paul the biggest boxer in the world? A case can be made for that, right? That's a legitimate question that you don't have to just laugh off anymore. And it's not because he's a fantastic boxer or anything. It's because of the publicity that he's done for the sport and the amount of money and revenue that he's brought in just by bringing the amount of people that watch him, right? That's what I think Bryce Hall, I think his play with bare knuckle fighting is he brings in that new audience that brings in a lot more revenue, right? Because he's on TikTok, because he's on YouTube, because he's on Instagram. He's on all these things. He brings all these new viewers. He brings in the attention. He brings in the revenue. He brings in the stake, right? He's got a stake in bare knuckle fighting now. He owns that stake because bare knuckle fighting owes it back to him.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see where he kind of goes from there. I don't know if he's able to. Bare knuckle will never be as big as the UFC, and it will never be as big as actual boxing. So it's really interesting to see if he stays in bare knuckle or if he makes a transition out of it. Because I can see logically how fighting bare knuckle will get over that fear of being hit, kind of getting used to being hit hard. So if you go from bare knuckle and you go from bare knuckle to actual boxing, he'll be a killer. He'll have zero fear. You go fight another YouTuber. Dude, you're set. No one's going to hit you as hard as those bare knuckle guys will.
No, and I mean, your body adjusts to it, right? So after you break your knuckles in a few times, your knuckles come back and they turn into steel.
Oh, yeah. I mean, have you ever seen, there was a video, years ago, that Russian girl.
Oh, yeah, the one of the girl just, absolutely going ham on a tree.
When she cut down the tree with her freaking knuckles.
With her hands, and she's 11 years old.
Yeah, 11 or 12. I was like, bro, they make Russians different.
The Russians are crazy people. Have you seen the video of the Russian guy? He's just got a bear just chilling in his living room, and he just goes over and he hits the bear, and the bear moves over so that he can sit down on the couch.
You know what the craziest thing about the Russians and bears is? There's so many videos like that.
I know! It's not a one-off thing.
No, it's not a weird viral thing that, someone got a bear in their house. It's what are they doing now?
it's like the Floridians and the Gators.
Yeah.
The Floridians and Gators, nothing goes together quite like Floridians and Gators and Russians and bears.
No.
Cookies and milk.
Yeah, it really is. Peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah. I was gonna say another example, but I couldn't think of something that actually went together, and I didn't say it.
I got you. That's another dub. I'll take dubs up whenever I can.
Exactly.
The Dillon Danis Logan Paul fight is, I believe, it's October 14th. I know because of all this hype, I am going to watch it.
Oh, heck yeah.
I can't miss it. Like, it's one of those things, if you didn't watch it, there's no point of watching it.
Well, we have seen pretty much every single big fight now. I don't think I've missed one.
I didn't watch any of the Logan Paul KSI stuff because that's just
I didn't watch the first Logan Paul one, but I did watch the second one.
No, see, for me, I didn't see those being worth it. I don't really know KSI that well. I like what he does of the sidemen. I like actually all the other sidemen besides KSI. Toby's hilarious. What's that one guy's name? It's like
Ethan?
No.
Harold?
Harry?
Yeah, Harry.
Oh my gosh.
That's hilarious.
We could do a whole podcast just talking about that guy. He's just out of this world, bro. Out of this world. But this was fantastic. It's podcast number 9 wrapping up. Podcast 10, I think we should do something a little bit crazy for it. Podcast 9, this was fun. I think we got a good insight on Dillon Danis and Logan Paul. I'm excited to see what happens from this.
Me too.
YouTube boxing is still taking over the world, and I hope it ends soon. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Like and subscribe. If you have anything you want to say, let us know. Take care.
Take care.